Sending out an SOS. This is take one. I'm gonna try and get some magic hour once the sun is not quite so well. Alright. Documentary. Starting at Asilomar, going to Stanford, ending up premiering a comprehensive theory of autism as ETSD, environmental trauma stress disorder, based on lived experiences from a 55-year-old Carnegie Mellon degreed philosopher who was a software consultant for 2 decades until she moved into an apartment in Bellevue. Toxic mold behind the walls. Relatively quickly, like within days, brain fog. We need a much stronger word. For nearly losing 90% of my capacity to walk and talk in my 40s. But applying the philosophical method to all of the data on the internet, using the concepts of biohacking and quantified self, I reversed it just in time for the pandemic. Now, having lived in pandemic conditions for the previous decade, artistic shutdown and the mold exposure, I thought I could handle it. But let me tell you, the truth is, something has went wrong in the US of hypocrisy when a human trying so hard with so much philosophical IP as she can be literally able to say without the slightest hesitation, I'm racing Elon and Jeff Bezos to $1 trillion. Now, the money isn't important, but the future of our species, saving our species from self-extincting in approximately 30 years, that's what keeps me on this planet. Apex intellect of bio-electromagnetism, which is how I differentiate the philosophical hypotheses of, which is my area of the world, and the coming academic discipline, the next neuroscience, bioelectromagnetism. Sorry, the brain isn't the end-all be-all. Now that I haven't said for free on the internet in like 5 years, so I'm not gonna break that string yet. But in person, recorded videos, I have a lot to share. The visionary guy like you. And what I'm looking for is a loyal relationship to help me become the person who can take the baton from Darwin. Evolutionary Logic+Love Intertwined. That's what life-centric thinking is all about. We're not thinking very clearly. All the worry about anthropomorphism and being anthropocentric. Well, I haven't found anyone who's very good at that. We're not thinking long enough. We have let the last close to 600 years of the Western whiteness thought tradition put our thinking in a corner. Everything has to have come from what came before. That's what evolution tells us. And consciousness is one of those things. Autism is very definitely the way that I port all of the esotericness of a theory of consciousness into impactful real-life solutions. It's just my lot in life. It's just my lived experiences. Nothing about me, even though I am optimizing and trying to earn money, being 1 in 8 billion, all the things I say, I think through the lens of just being 1 in 8 billion, which was the life I led for 55 years. I'm ready to change that, to be somebody making impactful changes to the thinking of the generation of adults who have to fix very nearly everything. There is so much wrong with how we've treated the planet and how we treat our fellow Homo sapiens sapiens that we are going to self-extinct our species in approximately 30 years if things don't radically, drastically, dramatically change. This has been Zenzi. That's my mission statement. Bringing WILLbeing philosophy based on the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectromagnetism, which sorts the hard problem of consciousness into an easy pivot and changes radically how we think about human functioning, that missing 3/5 that I put on the name card. Five forces in the world: mechanical, chemical, electrical, magnetic, and consciousness. Now, I'm playing a little bit with the math there, but we have to admit that human consciousness is such a force on Earth that unless we address that, unless we fix the thinking that has us completely unable to understand consciousness to the extent that we think technology could possibly be conscious, that's a faulty definition of consciousness. I'm not very worried about the tech singularity, because as the biological singularity, a human who can think with body, mind, soul intertwined, I see so many ways to make a lot of changes in this world. It takes funding. You can't get to the people without paying your tolls to a couple guys who are holding the species ransom so that their individual GL account balances continue to grow. Now, I hate no players, but I do hate the game of plantation capitalism. What happens when somebody starts saying plantation capitalism, privileged democracy, US of hypocrisy? If these very descriptive phrases start circulating around, and they will, we start to potentiate a species-level global hive mind of life-centric thinking. First, do no harm to any molecule of life. This has been Zenzi. My payroll name is debhelfrich.squarespace.com. But like the luminaries, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I've had to repudiate who I was before I really stood up to the heinousness of the dehumanization that plantation capitalism has visited on these species. My chosen soul name is Zenzile Londolozi. These are Zulu words that convey I am responsible for who I've become, the protector of all living beings, using philosophy. You can call me Zenzi, Harmony.